Good evening, I'm Prasad Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. COVID-19 is still out there, but it was a risk thousands took yesterday to show their support for Najib Abdul Razak. And in a few weeks, we'll know if a new cluster will emerge as a result of it. Yesterday, the country witnessed one of the largest public gatherings, if not the largest, since the movement control orders started. It left many people puzzled because Malaysia still hasn't beaten the COVID-19 outbreak. So why were so many people, many from the high-risk group, so close together with no social distancing? Now, the Health Ministry is on high alert, but the impact of the rally may take weeks to manifest. Speaking to a group of reporters today, Health Ministry Director General Dr. Najib Abdullah expressed great disappointment.
Jadi kita lihat sekarang ni, tempoh 7 bulan kita dah bekerja siang malam dalam our tears and sweat dalam kita menyiapkan kesiapsiagaan kita, dan kita berjaya untuk menurunkan jangkitan COVID-19 hingga 1 angka, dan ada 3 hari kita kosong sifar angka. Jadi kita kecewa dan juga sedih kita lihat bila ada perhimpunan tersebut. Saya pun bukan terlibat dalam politik, tetapi patuh kepada SOP, kepatuhan kepada SOP itu tak ada. Jadi kita tahu dalam RMCO ataupun PKPP ni, yang penting ialah kepatuhan kepada SOP. Kita benarkan rakyat Malaysia kembali kepada kehidupan seharian, tetapi dengan syarat patuh kepada SOP. Dan kalau tak patuh dengan SOP, maksudnya ada kalau jangkitan menular dalam kalangan komuniti dan tak terkawal, jadi kita akan bermasalah. Jadi kita mungkin akan kembali kepada PKPB ataupun PKP. Jadi kita kena lihat dalam tempoh 2 minggu lagi sama ada peningkatan kes dalam negara kita, di Kuala Lumpur contohnya.
Dr. Hisham said 2 weeks because that would be the COVID-19 incubation period. Thousands, including several MPs, gathered outside the court complex in Kuala Lumpur yesterday ahead of the much-anticipated verdict of Najib's 42 million ringgit SRC International Criminal Trial. Little social distancing was observed and many were seen not wearing face masks. The crowd became irate and started chanting in protest when the former Prime Minister was convicted on all 7 charges.
Kita dah penat kalau kita lihat, rakyat Malaysia pun sama-sama melihat bagaimana kita nak kawal kalau perkara ini berlaku kepada sesiapa saja. Jadi kita kalau boleh ambillah langkah-langkah yang positif untuk pencegahan.
While many have returned to work and their financial situation may have improved since the MCO was first announced, there are still some struggling to make ends meet, but the government has plans to address that. Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin today announced that loan reliefs that the government had negotiated with banks will shift to a targeted approach when the blanket moratorium expires on September 30th. Muhyiddin said the government was taking into account feedback from the people, some of whom are not yet financially ready to resume loan repayments. The moratorium, which began on April 1st and will end on September 30th, allows borrowers to defer their loan repayments during that period.
Saya juga tahu ramai yang berharap agar moratorium ini dilanjutkan. Oleh itu, saya telah berbincang dengan Menteri Keuangan dan Governor Bank Negara untuk mencari jalan penyelesaian kepada masalah yang dihadapi oleh sebahagian daripada saudara-saudari yang masih memerlukan bantuan selepas tempoh moratorium berakhir.
After September 30th, the general public is required to resume loan repayments, but the following targeted reliefs will be available for certain segments of society. A 3-month moratorium extension for those who have lost their jobs this year. A reduced monthly repayment amount for those whose salary was reduced. Others may negotiate with banks for certain reliefs if facing difficulties, which may include only paying the interest portion of loan repayment for a certain period of time or extending the overall loan length in order to reduce the quantum of monthly repayment. Muhyiddin said the targeted measures are expected to benefit 3 million individuals and SMEs. Now back to the Najib rally. Several opposition youth leaders have lodged a report over the gathering yesterday. Pakatan Harapan youth leaders gathered outside the Central District Police Headquarters this afternoon to lodge a police report against the large gathering of Najib Abdul Razak supporters outside the Kuala Lumpur Court Complex yesterday. This is over allegations that standard operating procedures like social distancing were not adhered to by the crowd.
So perkara ini saya rasa satu perkara yang tidak bertanggungjawab oleh beberapa pihak di mana mereka ni melanggar SOP, dan kita juga ada gambar ni ramai yang terlibat. Apa yang saya sangat kecewa, orang politik yang senior yang tidak bertanggungjawab. Walaupun di sini ada Datuk Seri Najib boleh guna kereta untuk masuk dalam, tapi beliau pilih pilihan untuk jalan mensertai perhimpunan awam itu.
Speaking to reporters, Prabhakaran said public gatherings that don't allow for proper social distancing to be observed are not allowed, and they have sufficient proof of non-compliance. He also listed the names of several senior politicians who took part in the gathering.
Datuk Seri Haji Muhammad Najib bin Tun Haji Abdul Razak, Yang Berhormat Ahmad Maslan, YB Datuk Seri Utama Haji bin Haji Hassan, Tomat, Dr. Ashraf dan lain-lain. Perkara ini lagi sekali saya tekankan pihak polis perlu adil apabila mengambil tindakan. Saya dengar banyak cerita dekat luar di mana trainer gym yang tidak menjaga jarak social distance pun telah ditahan, didakwa di compound. Tapi orang-orang sebegini perlu mendapati satu tindakan yang sama seperti mereka.
Also present to lodge the police report were Federal Territories Amanah Youth Chief Asmalif Abdul Adam and Federal Territories DAP Youth Chief Lee Bing Hong. Now we take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 situation. Definitely an improvement from the numbers we reported yesterday. Malaysia reported 13 new COVID-19 cases as of noon today. Most cases today were imported, involving people returning to Malaysia from abroad. From the 5 local transmissions, 3 involved Malaysians and 2 involved non-citizens. The 3 cases involving locals were detected in Sabah, Johor and Sarawak, while the remaining 2 involving foreigners were detected in Sarawak and Perlis. There was 1 new intensive care admission attributed to COVID-19, bringing the total number of COVID-19 related ICU admissions to 2. 5 people recovered today with no new COVID-19 linked fatalities reported. Currently, there are 220 patients being treated for COVID-19. The Bangladeshi national who angered many Malaysians for his comments on an Al Jazeera documentary has apologized for what he said. The Bangladeshi national Muhammad Rehan Kabir has expressed his willingness to be deported back to his home country. According to his lawyer, he also apologized for his statement in the interview with Al Jazeera.
Kabir conveys his apology to Malaysia because he didn't mean to say that. According to him, this is exactly what he told us. Yeah, he saw his friends during the COVID pandemic were arrested and they were chained. And pushed into the truck. So he cannot take it. That was his personal view. And he came out with that statement. And he sincerely apologized.
2 lawyers representing Rehan were authorized to meet him at the Immigration Department's headquarters in Putrajaya this afternoon. However, the exact date of Rehan's deportation was not clear so far. PKR lawmakers who quit Pakatan Harapan to join Perikatan Nasional are now being asked to fork out millions. Former PKR leaders Muhammad Azmin Ali, Zuraida Kamarudin and Saifuddin Abdullah will be among 19 former party elected representatives who will have to pay 10 million ringgit each to their former party. That's because this was the sum agreed upon by each of the affected MPs and assemblypersons for defecting from Pakatan Harapan, PKR said in a statement. In the statement, the party said it has given instructions to its lawyers to issue letters of demand to the 19 MPs and state assembly persons. Pakatan Harapan collapsed less than 2 years in power after Bersatu aligned itself with UMNO and PAS to form the PN government, along with several rogue PKR MPs led by Azmin. Since then, several more lawmakers have jumped to or aligned with PN. Coming up next, Trump is under fire after he retweeted a misleading video on COVID-19. He may have popularized the term fake news, but US President Donald Trump is under fire for retweeting a video which was later removed from Twitter because it violated the social media site's policy on misinformation about the coronavirus.
The woman that you said was a great doctor in that video that you retweeted last night said that masks don't work and there is a cure for COVID-19, both of which health experts say is not true. She's also made videos saying that doctors make medicine using DNA from aliens and that they're trying to create a vaccine to make you immune from becoming religious.
Well, maybe it's the same, maybe it's not, but I can tell you this. She was on air along with many other doctors. They were big fans of hydroxychloroquine, and I thought she was very impressive in the sense that from where she came, I don't know which country she comes from, but she said that she's had tremendous success with hundreds of different patients. And I thought her voice was an important voice, but I know nothing about her.
Masks don't work. Last week you said masks. Last week, well, real quick. Last week you said
thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
On the COVID relief bill, you said masks do work, Mr. President. So
you said your retweets get you in trouble. Don't you think you should vet them?
Russian scientists are poring over the stunning, well-preserved bones of an adult woolly mammoth. The bones of a woolly mammoth that walked the earth at least 10,000 years ago have been discovered in Russia. The well-preserved remains were found by locals in the shallows of a North Siberian lake. Scientists uncovered part of the mammoth's skull, ribs and foreleg. Some bones even had soft tissue attached to them. Andrei Gusev is a scientist from the Arctic Research Center.
Unfortunately, we couldn't excavate all the remains quickly, but I think that the material we've got is good enough for a general analysis. This will allow us in the future to establish the age of the specimen and the age of the remains.
While the search goes on for more of the mammoth's bones, researchers said they know the remains date at least 8,000 BC. But they don't know yet exactly when it walked the earth and how old it is when it died. In recent years, scientists have uncovered numerous bones in Russia's vast Siberian region as climate change warms the Arctic and thaws permafrost. McDonald's reported a bigger than expected drop in global restaurant sales in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. Quarterly profits plunged a worse than expected 68% at McDonald's, with many of the fast food giant's global locations forced to rely heavily on drive-thru and delivery during the past 3 months. International sales were a major factor in that slump, according to company results released on Tuesday. But in the US, where McDonald's has a third of all its restaurants, sales were nowhere as dismal as anywhere else. Still, CEO Chris Kempczynski pointed to McDonald's strong drive-thru presence and investments made in delivery and digital over the past few years, saying they have served as well through these uncertain times. Nearly 90% of all US sales came through the drive-thru. Like many restaurants, McDonald's has had to pivot during lockdowns by slimming down its menu and shifting mainly to online and mobile orders for pickup, delivery and drive-thru. As restaurants have started to reopen to limited dining, McDonald's has joined other US restaurant chains and retailers in requiring face coverings to be worn inside locations. It is already starting to see a pickup in US business for the month of July, but says international sales continue to struggle. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.